Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Dark Powerrr, where we talk about AEW Dark Elevation and, of course, NWA Powerrr. There is a little bit to get to and some nice matches, but more importantly, a really, really good promo that we got to talk about. So, guys, let's get straight to it, and I will catch you guys in a couple. So what's going on, guys? I want to thank you once again for always tuning in and being part of our True Heel Heat family. We appreciate every like, every comment, and all of you that subscribe. If you are so inclined, please consider joining our Patreon. $3 is the entry-level tier, and you get access to so much more than we are able to show here on YouTube. But let's talk about what we do talk about here on YouTube, and that is, of course, Dark Elevation Power. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the match that we had between Anthony Henry and Lee Moriarty on Dark. This was a really, really good match. Easily the standout match of the night for Dark for me. I know the main event was pretty good. It had Yuta in a nice match against Solo, but this one really, to me, stole the show. This was nice transitional wrestling back and forth. There was some good submission moves from Henry to Moriarty. There was the Tiger style that Moriarty is getting known for, that vicious, kind of hard-hitting ferocity and that never say die attitude. This is a really strong match. It's just at 6 minutes. I think it might have gone just like a couple seconds over 6 minutes. But this is a really, really good match. And what's even more important is the promo afterwards. That's not the promo that I was talking about in the intro, but there is a really good promo from Moriarty right afterwards where he's talking to Tony Schiavone and saying that consistency is the key, and that as he gets more, as he continues, as he keeps being consistent, now we had something else. We had confidence, and confidence can take you a long way. Everybody knows that. Look at Joe Burrow and Evan McPherson in the Super Bowl because they had confidence. Whether they win or lose, they got to the dance, and that's what Lee Moriarty wants. Lee Moriarty wants that confidence that comes from being consistent, and we're all going to be able to witness, as he puts it, the metamorphosis of Lee Moriarty. And that takes us to NWA Powerrr. Now, Powerrr was a little, well, there were a couple disjointed parts that stood out to me, but for the most part, nothing too bad, because this show was less about story and more about matches. So we have been hearing about this team war. Last week, we found out who the teams were going to be. And this week, we're going to have all the team war matches. Well, we will have basically the semifinals. But before we do that, we get a really strong promo. And that's still not the promo that I'm talking about earlier in the intro. But we get a strong promo from Matt Cardona. And Cardona, really well put. He says he can't face Trevor Murdoch for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. And he explains because if he faces Trevor, he's going to beat Trevor. And if he beats Trevor, Trevor's going to do what he did a couple years ago, and that's completely quit the business. He's going to retire. And Matt doesn't want that on his conscience. But at the same time, he's got to face Trevor Murdoch because he's got to save the NWA. They say that the best villains are people who don't consider themselves to be villains. People who feel as though they are doing things, they have a reason for what they're doing, and that reason is whatever it may be, but it's sometimes selfless, it's sometimes altruistic. Everybody is the hero of their own story, right? And Matt Cardona as a heel really personifies that very well, because the character comes across as though he, honest to God, believes that the NWA needs him. And he's the only person who can save the NWA. It's a great character, and he's very convincing in this promo, and it makes me want to see the match. There are people who are going back and forth saying that, well, maybe Cardona should beat Trevor Murdoch. Maybe Murdoch should retain. I don't know. Part of me wants Murdoch to retain. A part of me can see how putting the belt on Cardona is smart business, and it's smart for what we will get to in a few moments, the promo that I was talking about. But first, we have our first match of the Team War. Now, what's kind of weird about this Team War thing is that we don't really get an idea of who is. Oh, I don't know why that happened. we don't really get an idea of what exactly the rules are, and they kind of explain the rules as we're going along. And it's kind of funny because first they're saying, okay, there's going to be 4 teams of 3 people each, which we knew every team had 3 people. There's going to be 4 teams at the same time, and we're going to have elimination style wrestling. And when every member of a team is eliminated, that team is gone. And as long as there's 1 member remaining, that team could potentially win. So there's a lot of different options here. A lot of different options. And what I think is kind of funny about it is that they don't explain throughout the course of the match until it becomes a potentiality that you can also eliminate yourself or eliminate your team by going over the top rope. And that's a little something that, to me, they probably should have led with, because it completely changes the tenor of every single match that you're going to be involved in. So this one it's fast paced for this. Which is kind of weird because the match has a large amount of time. As the match was starting, I was sitting there trying to figure out, because normally NWA Powerrr matches at least go very short, right? Like, we have a TV title that can only be defended in 6 minutes and 5 seconds. So I'm thinking to myself, wow, are we just going to have some crazy quick eliminations? But no, they gave everybody time to work, which I liked. And they tried to tell a little bit of a story in each match. So the first one is Strictly Business and El Rudo up against Colby Corino and the Fixers, Homicide and La Rebellion, and the OGK and Vic Benjamin. The other thing that they don't tell us, or at least here's the thing, nobody did this, so I don't know if it's possible. Nobody tagged in and out, right? So in the beginning of the match, we have Rudo, I think it was Colby, Homicide, and Vic Benjamin. Vic Benjamin, for example, is never going to turn and try to tag in Matt Taven or Bennett. He has to stay in the match until he's eliminated. That adds another wrinkle that they just don't tell us about. And so, again, nobody tries to make a tag at any point in time, so I don't know if they can or they can't. And commentary doesn't say whether they can or they can't. So I'm like, it's a little weird in that sense. But from an in-ring perspective, it's really strong work. Homicide gets eliminated early in this match. We have Colby Corino trying to run around and do as much as he can to try to be the star of the show, as he continuously tries to do. We have Victor Benjamin showing out in a couple good spots throughout the course of this match. We have hard-hitting action when the Fixers finally come in, when Colby Corino does get eliminated. And it ends up being Strictly Business who picks up the win, because Adonis basically does a lot of the heavy lifting himself after Rudo gets eliminated. And that's the other thing. Latimer, for example, never comes into this match at all, which is kind of cool because, hey, he doesn't it's light work, right? You just basically got dressed and you go out there and you don't have to do much, but you got paid. So, hey, I ain't mad at it. If I'm Tom Latimer, I'm sure he's not mad at it either. So we have Strictly Business and El Rudo being the team that progresses forward. So I'm trying to figure out who is going to be the next team that progresses forward in our main event. But wait a minute. This is the little bit of disjointedness I was referring to earlier. Joe Gallo says in the intro Our main event is going to be Camille putting the NWA Women's Championship up against Kiera Hogan. Kiera Hogan, who won that number 1 contendership match not too long ago. Okay, cool. The first, I don't know what it's technically called, not interstitial, but the first like placard or card that comes up after the end of the first match, after the end of that first Team War match, says main event, second Team Wars match. And I was like, wait a minute, Joe, what's going on here? But anyway, I digress. I want to quickly get out of the way that Ill Begotten are adding Jeremiah Plunkett to their team and basically pushing Captain Yuma out of the way. Makes sense to me. Yuma's kind of a joke character, comedian character. All right, no issues. And that leads us to the promo that I was talking about. It's the return of Pope. As you may remember, or as you will remember, Pope was attacked by Knox and Cardona, laid out, sent to the hospital. We hadn't seen him in weeks. He makes his return, and he delivers one of the strongest promos I've seen on NWA Powerrr in a very, very long time. Like, I think the last time it was a promo this good was one of the Trevor Murdoch promos during the build to the 73 match with Aldis. This is just a really strong promo, and he channels Dusty Rhodes' Hard Time promo, kind of replacing hard times with uncertainty, saying that Knox and Cardona have put uncertainty on the NWA. They've made things uncertain because we don't know what's the next. We don't know what's around the corner. Uncertainty is, he goes on, like, it's just, uncertainty is waking up in the hospital bed, people touching you because they're trying to help you, trying to fix you, and you don't know where you are. You don't know how you got there. You don't know anything. That's uncertainty. Uncertainty is Velvet Sky holding on to you and crying because she doesn't know whether you're going to be all right. Tim Storm standing there praying. Like, you got to check it out. And now that Powerrr is back up on YouTube, do yourself a favor, check it out. The promo is probably stronger than anything that happened else that happened on NWA today. Might even be stronger than the Lee Moriarty Anthony Henry match. But it's really, really good. And it's leading me to think, or not even think, but it's leading me to want. This is the want. If in a perfect world, or my scenario, what I would do, or I hope they do, fantasy booking and all that jazz, is I think Matt Cardona has to beat Trevor Murdoch. I don't know if it's necessarily immediately, this first match. I don't know if it's the second match, but I know that he has to beat Murdoch. And then I want him to hold it for a few months, like 3-4. Get us to around, say, August. And then I want Pope to finally be able to use that Champion Series championship opportunity and cash it in. And I want him to beat Cardona. And the thing is, the Cardona reign can be short. It can be shorter. You could have him beat. I know they're having the match this weekend, actually, at Powerrr Trip, which is going to be aired on multiple nights as part of Powerrr episodes. You could have Cardona win, and then Pope challenge, and Pope is champion by May or June. That's fine. But somehow, some way, they have to take the title from Murdoch to Cardona to Pope. That's what I would love to see. I don't know if it'll happen. There's a part of me that doesn't even think it will happen, because that's just the way the NWA works. but I think it would be really cool. I think it'd be a really great storyline because Pope, since day one, has been all about the NWA, the heart and soul of the NWA. And they've kind of positioned Trevor to be that guy right now. And it's also kind of forced upon you by virtue of being a face champion. But man, Pope's really good at doing that because he is that. And I think that the promo battles would be absolutely, absolutely outstanding. So let's talk about our second match of the night, and that is Camille taking on Kiera Hogan, putting the title on the line. This is it's an all right match. Nothing about it felt super great. I felt as though they had a third gear that they wanted to shift into, but they never really got the opportunity. The ending of the match actually feels very clunky because Camille, gosh, I forget it. It's not even a real. It's not even her finishing move. But I mean, she doesn't because it's not a spear. But I think it was a flatliner. Basically, she got her up for basically. So she had her not as a DDT, but yeah, no, in like kind of a DDT formation. But no, wait, was it DDT? She has her up basically to do like to drop backwards. And instead of just dropping backwards to drop Kiera face first onto her face, she jumps and then does it that way. Okay, fine. But it's a 3 count. And there's visible confusion on the side of Camille. The ref keeps it together. But it's just, I don't know. It felt like a big step backwards for me. For Camille because they've been doing so well with her. It's just you hate to see anything. You hate to see anything that's going to pull away from momentum. And I kind of just want to know now what happened. There's just the backstage side of me, the behind the scenes person is just like what, because it didn't seem like a fast count. I think they just mistimed the kick out because Kiera does kick out, but it feels not even like a 2 7/8 or a 2 11/12. It feels like a 2 19 out of 20 when that ref's hand's coming down and Kiera just pops out. So it feels as though it was just a tad too late, and the ref made the judgment call of I don't want to look like I botched, or I don't want to botch this. Just ring the bell, because ultimately I think we all knew what the plan was. The plan was that Camille's going to win. So the ref's like, doesn't matter to me in that sense of whether it's a botched count or a botched ending or we got to the actual finish, because either way, Camille won. Maybe, I don't know. I'd love to be able to ask the ref and get, his perspective of what happened, and also ask Camille and Kiera Hogan. But it is what it is. Still our champion. Still your champion. The Brick House, Camille. And that leads us to our final Team War match. Oh man, this one's super interesting. So here we have the ill-begotten Plunkett, Freeman, and God, I always forget the third guy's name. Because now it's not Yuma, but the third guy, we'll call him the third guy, who's I sincerely apologize. I'm forgetting your name right now. But it's them up against Idol Sports Mania of Tyrus, Marche Rocket, and Golden Boy Jordan Clearwater. It's the End, Perro and Odinson with Rodney Mack, and it's Judias teaming up with Aaron Stevens and Kratos. This match is going to turn around two things. One, you got to get Tyrus out of the match as quickly as possible. And two is something that's very interesting. Two is, why can't people tag in and out? or what's going to happen if somebody doesn't. Because the End and Rodney Mack are going to win this match without losing a person. It's just incredible. It's just incredible. The shenanigans that ensues. Aaron Stevens is going to get eliminated. Kratos and Tyrus are going to have a huge stare down back and forth. They're going to eliminate people they're going to try to win a one-upmanship. Anything you can do, I can do better. Try to eliminate somebody. They're going to go back and forth. We're going to end with Clearwater having to take on like 5 people by himself because of what happens. And it's just a funny kind of match, because at the end of it, Powerrr and Rodney Mack are gonna get in the ring to celebrate with Odin's son, and they're all like, "Yeah, we did it! Yeah, we did it! Oh yeah!" And it's like, neither of you did shit. Odinson did everything. But either way, it sets up a final Team War match of Odinson, Powerrr, and Rodney Mack, who, again, Odinson and Powerrr were just being shown as heels. I know I talked about this last week, and Rodney Mack's being shown as a face, and now apparently they're working together. But that's neither here nor there. At least there's a consistency and continuity in the other team that they're facing, which Rudo is a heel, Strictly Business is a heel. So we're gonna see who wins the $30,000 when they tape this match. I think it's part of the Power Trip this weekend. But overall, the most important things from this episode of Powerrr were the 2 promos. It's the opening promo from Cardona, and it's the uncertainty promo from Pope. So if you get a chance to check anything out, definitely check those 2 out. And if you can only choose one, take the Pope promo. It's really good. I really got to say, I haven't heard a promo like that in a long time. So, guys, I want to thank you once again for tuning in to Dark Powerrr. We appreciate all the times that you spend with us. We appreciate you inviting us onto your phones, TVs, tablets, however you're watching us. Hey, who knows? Maybe you're putting up a giant flat sheet and you got a projector and you're just watching us in the backyard. We'll take it. We'll take it because we appreciate all the support. Every time you guys hit the like button, you comment, share, subscribe, as we know you will. And if you are considering joining our Patreon, it's only $3 a month to get into our entry-level tier. So until next time, I want to thank you guys. Remember, take care of yourselves and each other.